On November 22nd, 2020, a group of Franklin residents of color gathered to share their experiences of being a minority in this town. After coming to the realization that because Franklin is a predominantly white area, racial discrimination is not talked about because of the fact we don't have many minorities, and that it's not an issue in Franklin. We highly encourage you to share this video with your family and friends. It's important to have these powerful and impactful discussions in a town like this, and it's time our voices are heard.
Yeah, thanks everyone for showing up, and I look forward to this conversation. Just to start us off, my first question is just what has your experience with race been in Franklin? How has it been positive or negative on your life?
Something that I was surrounded with was the idea that white is good, and I think that's kind of a universal thing, white is good, white is pretty, especially with the Eurocentric facial features, and it was a lot of, oh, I want to be white, I want to have white features, I want to dress white, I want to talk white.
I have been surrounded by microaggressions since I can remember. I was being told, oh, you'd be much prettier if you were white, or your hair would look so much better if it was straight, or just those things, and it would degrade me, and to the point I developed my own self-racism, and I thought that I wasn't good enough because of the color of my skin, and it was to the point I almost bleached my own skin.
It's not necessarily one big thing that has to happen to make me feel unwelcome, but the microaggressions, the you would look prettier with your hair straight, the oh, you talk white, but that's not a bad thing.
I used to just be able to take out my ponytail on crazy hair day because my curly hair was so different from everybody else's that it was funny to other people. And when you're 7, you don't really realize how damaging that is to the image of yourself that you have. The days that I had straight hair, I would wear nice clothes to school, and the days that I had my curly hair, I would wear sweatshirts and leggings because I thought I couldn't look pretty unless I had straight hair.
So I started to have confidence issues where I believed that I had to be white to be pretty. And the only times that I was complimented, it was things like, oh, you're pretty for a black girl, as if I can't be pretty because of the color of my skin. I would have panic attacks in the school bathroom because I would just constantly compare myself to every white girl. And so when people call the Black Lives Matter movement a terrorist organization, it really hurts me because it was that movement that made me finally embrace my blackness and love myself.
I've been called the N-word by grown men, and I've been told that I speak white, so I started hanging out with white people a lot more. I've been told, oh, you speak too black, and I was like, well, I don't know what to be because I look white but I talk black, so how am I supposed to act?
Since I am adopted, I live with a white family. A lot of people told me, oh, you are so whitewashed, you act so white, you're so white. And hearing that from the black community, who I thought, oh, these are the people that would have my back. Hearing them say that I'm too white, and then the white people saying that I'm too black, I think that kind of just negatively affected me as a whole.
I'm biracial. My father is from Africa, my mother is from here. I've went through this long period of time where I didn't even know what I was, because all I've received was, what are you? You look Mexican, you look this, you look that, and I didn't really know how to tell them what I really was.
We need to educate everybody else about all different cultures, so I can be able to say, yeah, I'm Haitian and I'm proud of it.
I've lived in Franklin my whole life, and I've been able to see the comfortableness that we're now in, that people can just be openly racist and think nothing can happen.
During the election, and all that. Being like a Hispanic person in Franklin was just, I felt like I had a target on my back. Somebody came up to me and asked me if I was Mexican, and then proceeded to tell me to go back to where I came from and go back to Mexico and get my green card and stuff like that. And I took it to my principal and nothing happened.
The first time that somebody said nigger to me, that somebody called me nigger, I was in 4th grade, and I told my mom about it about a week later because I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know that it was really that big of a problem. And she was like, you should have told me earlier. And she told my teacher, and the kid got, I think, a week of no recess, and he had to write me a card, and that was it. It said sorry, just sorry.
There was this one time I was sitting at lunch and I heard these 2 girls laughing hysterically. They sounded like they were gonna pass out, and I asked them what they were laughing at, and one of them said, they used the R word, and they said, this R word just said the N word in front of a black girl. And they thought it was funny.
I could definitely see this with my little brother. Every single year, and I am not lying to you, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, all the way up to he's currently in 8th grade, about to go to high school. Every single year, I'm not exaggerating, someone comes up to him and calls him the N-word, okay, or says something along those lines. We bring it to the school, nothing happens.
So I was on Snapchat one night. This random kid just added me. He was like, your adopted nigger dad doesn't love you. Did someone pick you up from Nigeria? Fuck you, die nigger fat sack. I'm gonna lynch you. I'm gonna lynch you like the good old days. You are a fag. I'm outside your window. I'm at your house. You don't expect that to happen when you're 14 and like planning your outfit for the next day. So I started screenshotting it. And I took it to my brother, and then I took it to my parents, and then we took it to the police. And what they said was, we can't do anything besides go to the school unless he like beats you up or if he hurts you. They didn't say this is nothing, but it was treated like it was just something that was normal. That's not normal. That is not normal. And I just think that we need to talk about in Franklin as people if this is like acceptable to just toss aside.
If somebody were to call them out for saying something as serious as the N-word, their excuse would be, well, I was just joking. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. But you can't not mean it like that. It's not something that you can just joke about.
This may be a common experience, especially here. A way to get around the boundary for saying the N-word is people using the pass. Saying, oh my god, can I have the N-word pass? Like, you're the cool black girl. You don't care if I'm racist. Can I have the pass? No, that's not a thing. I'm sorry, it's not. You don't say it. They need more empathy to understand the hurt that comes with that word.
People say, oh, it's just a word. It is, but with a ton of historical baggage around it.
And if people don't know about that, then it's very easy to say it's a joke.
I remember in 6th grade we were reading a book and my teacher asked if anyone knew what the KKK meant, and someone from the back of the room said the Cool Kids Club, and she just simply said don't say that, and we went on. And I feel like it starts at a young age where kids start to joke about things that are very serious and things that affect people every day. And they pass it off as, oh, I have dark humor. But being openly racist, homophobic is not dark humor. You're just being racist.
The most memorable thing was that someone called me a sand N-word. And I was 7th grade then. I was like shocked. But at the same time, I kind of laughed because I thought it's just a joke. And other things like call my parents like terrorists all the time. I kind of made myself a joke. Like I would joke about my own race all the time. I would kind of demean my own self because I thought, I mean, they're already doing it to me, so what's the worst it can go? My religion, it's different. It's a joke to them. The food I eat is different. It's a joke to them. My parents' names are not white names, and that's a joke to them. And to me, it's just made me kind of live in this kind of shell where I don't tell anyone anything about my personal life because, like, what? They're probably going to joke about it.
I feel like if you're perceived as someone that doesn't get angry at racism, at blatant racism, you're perceived as cool or chill. Like, oh, you're not like other black people. You're not like other people of color. Yes, I am. I'm so tired of speaking up against it. Like, I don't even try anymore.
Like, my childhood was just so different than most kids, you know. At 5 years old, I was already told what to do if a police officer approaches me. I was already told what to do if a kid at school decides to touch my hair. Or I was already told what to do if a kid decides to, you know, say something derogatory to me, such as the N-word. Like, my parents are so tired of hearing it. Like, I can't imagine, like, the burden they have because, like, every single year they hear, oh, someone said my son was a monkey. Someone said my son was a nigger.
Racism is still a big, big issue, and just because you might not be racist does not mean that it's not a problem.
And it's this big, overarching thing that's like, it's there, but nobody ever wants to discuss it because having that discussion can be uncomfortable, and having that discussion can lead to a conversation that maybe you don't agree with someone, and that's scary.
I feel like the best way to approach it as someone who's not a person of color is to just listen and to accept that this thing did happen to someone else.
Just being not racist is the bare minimum. And you shouldn't be patted on the back for doing the bare minimum.
You can't say to the world that you are there to support a movement that you have directly insulted with your actions.
There should be more resources, especially at our schools, about race and bias.
A majority of the issues do start at home, and it's up to the parents to not only get their kids involved in certain groups like FAR or Diversity Awareness Club or International Club, so they can learn about it, because some parents think it's uncomfortable, but it's a reality. Parents, where's the camera? Show this to your kids, because they really need to understand what's going on in this town.
I mean, majority of all my teachers have been white all the way through elementary and high school. I mean, I don't feel safe talking to them about race. All the administrators, they're all white. I mean, I'm not one for putting in diversity for the sake of diversity, but at the same time, it doesn't really help when there's zero diversity.
Like, if there were people to go to about this besides your parents, besides your peers, like somebody else, like a third party to just help you process this information and tell you that you're valid and that you're worth it and you shouldn't question who you are as a person because of something that someone's saying, it's just so, it would help so much.
Thank you for coming out and sharing and also listening. I really think that this is important. I think it is conversations like these that push our town forward.
I feel like now that we've started that conversation, like that's going to be the first movement to help us, like all of us minorities and people of color, finally feel appreciated and feel like our voices are finally heard, because it hasn't been for a really long time.